When I was very young, not more than 7 or 8 years old, my father told me about a murder that was committed when he was a young man. It happened in the town adjoining the one where we lived in Ohio. In those days, a murderer was hanged outdoors in broad daylight, and everyone was invited to see the gruesome act and all the details that went with it. It was an eager and anxious crowd, each pushing to be in at the moment of death. My father managed to get well in front where he could watch. But when he saw the rope adjusted around the man's neck, he could stand no more. My father turned away his head and felt humiliated and ashamed for the rest of his life that he could have had that much of a hand in killing a fellow man. My father and mother were not usual people. They were free thinkers in a valley full of rock-ribbed religionists. The only Democrats among Republicans for as far as you could see. The only intellectuals. Would you believe my mother thought women should be allowed to vote, and even said so right out loud as early as 1840? And I remember this perfectly, even though I was only 7 or 8 at the time. My mother never protested when my father kept me out till midnight, riding with him on a hay wagon, because buried under the straw were slaves. My father was helping to escape from south to north, from slavery to freedom along the Underground Railway. My father always did just enough work for hire. Carpentry, house painting, driving a hearse, to be able to buy books. Hebrew, Greek, Latin, law, metaphysics, science, religion. He loved his books. He loved us to read them. If I became anything at all, I owe it to my father's patience and his books. And to be honest about it, to some plain hard work on my own part. When I was 9, my father set me to work on the hottest summer day I can ever remember, hoeing potatoes. And after a few hours of that hard work, I ran away from hard work, went into the practice of law, and have not done any work since. Why the law? Well, in Kinsman, on every 4th of July, after Squire Allen got through reading the Declaration of Independence, which we thought he'd written since he always read it, he introduced some lawyer from the county seat. I had seen the lawyer's horse and buggy at the hotel that morning, and I remember thinking how nice they were and how much money. He never seemed a bit afraid to stand up before the public. I remember his boots looked shiny, as though they'd just been greased. He talked very loud, and he waved his hands and arms a great deal. The old farmers clapped and nodded their heads and said, "Mighty smart man. Great man." That's why the law. I've never been sure I made the right choice. The law is a bum profession as generally practiced. It's devoid of idealism, almost poverty-stricken as to any real ideals. But I only learned that when I was in too deep to get out. My trouble was I was fascinated by the idea of the law. The people I'd meet, the clash of good minds. That was even better than baseball. Although, one afternoon in high school, with my girlfriend Jessie watching, I came to bat in the last of the ninth with us 1 run down. 2 men on, 2 men out, just like Casey at the bat, only I hit one over the grocery store to win the game. Nothing would ever beat that. Not even the monkey tribe.